All right, this video is for the 7th grade topic, populations and samples. As with all of these study island topics, it's a really good idea to have the lesson open in another tab that you can easily access while you're trying to answer questions from the practice session. This lesson in particular has a lot of good information right here and definitions of words like population, sample, random sampling, etc. So before you attempt these problems, definitely take a moment to go through each of these and read the definitions of these words because you need to know what they are. Let's get into some of the practice problems. Number 1, which of these is an example of a non-random sample? A cereal company puts a winning ticket in one box of cereal out of 100,000 boxes. B, a farmer is choosing grains of wheat from a field to test for a new flavor of cereal. C, 10 college students at a college, population 50,000, are chosen to taste a new cereal, test a new cereal. And D, a cereal company surveys their employees about breakfast food preference. This is going to be the non-random one because the cereal company is choosing its own employees when presumably the information that they would want to know about is not people who are just their own employees, but population that they could sell food to. So that's there. Also keep in mind that when you go through these, whether you get the problems right or wrong, you should be able to click on the explanation and it will give you some type of extra information. For this particular one, it's pretty thin, but it's the only one that shows a non-random sample is the survey of their own company's employees. Next question. Amy is doing a science experiment on how a certain bacterium reacts to an antibiotic. She has 3 dishes of identical bacterium samples with 18 bacteria in each dish. She gives an antibiotic to all of the bacteria in one dish. All of the treated bacteria died, and the bacteria in the other 2 dishes survived. Identify the population in the situation above. Now, again, population is one of those keywords that you have a definition for. Population is an entire group of persons or elements that have at least one thing in common. Minnesota 4th graders, Morehead State University summer school students, etc. Basically, the population in this one is all the bacteria in the 3 dishes. Why? Because those are the bacteria that she's studying. Now, the sample would have been the bacteria in the dish that she applied the antibiotic to. But the total population that she was studying was the bacteria in all 3 dishes. It's not all bacteria everywhere because it's not the specific type of bacteria that she is using for her experiment. Number 3, Jane works at Star Bar Ice Cream. The company wants to know which ice cream flavor is the most popular. Jane surveys every 3rd male customer about his favorite ice cream flavor. Now I'm going to stop and read the part again because I'm telling you right now, all the rest of this information is just fluff and you don't need it. What you need to know about this problem is all in those sentences I just read. So let's read them again. Jane works at Star Bar Ice Cream. The company wants to know which ice cream flavor is the most popular. So it wants to know about all of its customers. The chain surveys every 3rd male customer. So the people she surveyed do not represent all of the population because she only surveyed male customers. So is there a sampling bias in the situation above? The answer is yes. Jane only asks male customers. The actual results don't matter when it comes to figuring out if there's a sampling bias or not. Number 4, Amy is doing a science experiment on how a certain bacterium reacts to an antibiotic. This is that same problem we had a minute ago. It's just asking a slightly different question. Let's continue reading it. She has 3 dishes of identical bacterium samples with 17 bacteria in each dish. She gives an antibiotic to all of the bacteria in one dish. All of the treated bacteria died, and the bacteria in the other 2 dishes survived. Is there a sampling bias in the situation above? And the answer is no. All 3 dishes were filled with the same number of identical bacteria. So she was thinking about those 3 dishes of bacteria. She applied the antibiotic to one dish. That makes that one dish the sample, and it's a good representative. Number 5, at a coffee shop, a survey was conducted to find out whether the customers preferred hot or iced coffee. In the survey, every 5th customer was asked which type of coffee was their favorite. Were the results of the survey valid? They're only valid if a random sample was used. So, Would you consider this a random sample? In the survey, every fifth customer was asked which type of coffee was their favorite. And you would say yes, because the coffee shop surveyed a sample that is representative of the population. If they only surveyed male customers or female customers or customers that were there at a certain time of day or had some type of bias like that, it wouldn't be representative of the population. Number 6. Selma wanted to know if 7th grade students prefer to do their math homework in silence or with background music. Now I'm going to read that again. Selma wants to know if 7th grade students prefer to do their math homework in silence or with background music. So the population that she wants to know about is all 7th grade students. It doesn't specify which 7th grade students, but it's all the 7th grade students, not 8th grade, not 6th grade, but all the 7th grade students. She polled the 21 students in her music class. 7 students preferred to do their math homework in silence, and 14 students preferred to do their math homework with background music. So the results don't matter for us right now. That sentence says the results. The question, though, is to identify the population in the situation above. The population was all the 7th grade students. Now, her sample isn't representative of that population because her sample is only kids in a music class. That's not a representative sample, but the population is all the 7th grade students. Number 7. A city council conducted a survey on speed bumps to see what residents preferred. The council asked every resident in one particular neighborhood what his or her preferences were. Were the results of the city council survey valid? So, you want to know if the survey actually was a representative sample of everybody that the city council cared about. So let's read about it again. A city council conducted a survey on speed bumps to see what residents preferred. So all residents of the city are the population. The council asked every resident in one particular neighborhood what his or her preferences were. So they care about everybody in the city, but they only ask people in a particular neighborhood. That is not going to be a representative sample. So, no, because the city council did not survey a sample that is representative of the population. Next, which of these is an example of a non-random sample? A. Airline passengers to Orlando, Florida are asked about vacation plans. B. At a school assembly, 5 students are randomly chosen to receive free admission to a theme park. C. Out of all 7th grade students in a public school district, 15 are chosen to win a trip to a vacation destination. And D. Registered voters in Arizona are surveyed to determine if they have relatives in Florida. Airline passengers to Orlando, Florida are asked about vacation plans. That's not a random group. Those are people that are going to Orlando, Florida, which is a popular vacation destination. So that is going to be a biased sample. All of the rest of these don't seem to have any connection to some type of vacation, so you're going to get a representative group. Number 9. The student council at Westlake High School wants to use sample surveys to find the favorite subject of students at the school. So again, that's a very important sentence that you got to read carefully because it's probably going to ask about surveys and you need to know the population they're trying to get to. So, student council, what are they trying to find out? The student council at Westlake High School wants to use sample surveys to find the favorite subject of students at the school. So they care about students at the school, not just one particular grade or not just male or female students or anything like that, but all students at the school. That is the population that they're looking to get information about. For each sample listed, determine if inferences made from the data gathered by surveying each sample listed are valid or not valid for the entire student population. Now, this sentence might be kind of weird, so I'm just going to explain what it's actually telling you to do. We're going to go through each one of these four examples of something that the student council might do, and we're going to say whether or not it would work or wouldn't work to actually get good results. If it does work, it's valid. If it doesn't work, it's not valid. And we just want to determine if the student council would be asking a good sample of the population, a good random sample of the population. So let's take a look at it and see. The first student listed on each page of the student directory. That is a good, valid way to get information about the students because there's no bias. The first student listed on each page of the student directory, that could be anybody on each page. So that is a random sample, and every student could be part of that sample. Next, the first 20 female students to enter the school in the morning. That's bad for two reasons. One, it only counts female students. Two, there's going to be a bias towards people that are getting to school earlier. So that is not a valid sample. Next, 35 members of the math club. That is not a valid sample of the population because people who are not in the math club could not be part of it. And the math club is going to skew towards one type of student. Next, every sixth student that walks into the school in the morning. That's valid because every kid is going to be walking into the school, assuming that they're not sick or absent, and every sixth student gives it a chance to be any one of them, not just the first group or the last group or anything like that. Okay, one more. Josh works for Moo Moo Milkshakes. The company wants to know what milkshake flavor is the most popular. The company wants to know which milkshake flavor is the most popular. That means it cares about all of its customers, which is the most popular. Today, he surveyed every third female customer on their favorite milkshake flavor. So right away, you should be thinking, hey, he didn't survey all the customers, or he only surveyed female customers. So that is not going to be a representative sample. And then we have the results here, which for the purposes of this question are meaningless. It says identify the sample in the situation above. The sample is the group of people that Josh actually asked. The sample is every third female customer. And that sample is not representative of the population. So it's not a good sample, but that is the sample. So every third female customer, it's who Josh asked. The population would be every customer, but the survey was every third female customer. All right, so that's it. Again, make sure that you have the lesson tab open and you have these definitions there for you. There's also some examples of more problems here on the lesson page. And good luck, work hard, and be ready for another one tomorrow.